Area code 623?
Yeah, this is Michael from Phoenix. Yeah, Drake, hey, how's it going?
Good.
I just wanted to ask you, Drake, you're talking to these folks in the military, the Pentagon, wherever your contacts may be. If you have this information, I would think that they should have it as well. And if this doesn't bring forth to light their oath of enlistment, I don't know what will. And I would hope that in your talks to them that you would kind of remind them of that fact that should be self-apparent. And if not, maybe point them to take a look at, like, the St. Crispian's Day speech from Henry V. You know, if they're not going to be a part of the solution, we don't need them, and we'll get it done. And that also, you know, silence shows consent. And if they let this happen and we get this done anyway, that those individuals that stood by and did nothing are going to also be accountable. So, you know, everybody likes to plan, and they want the plan to go perfect. But it's like having a baby. You can plan all you want, but when it happens, you're not completely ready. So you got to, at some point, you just got to get off your ass and do it, because otherwise you're just going to spend the whole time planning. And by the time the plan's done, we're sitting in a NWO-controlled world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The offer has been made that if certain forces have to take the obligations and jobs of the military, that the military could very well become irrelevant. And I don't feel that's cool. I would like to see the military be more than relevant, but actually in some capacity leadership in this effort. And that's basically why I put it out the way I did today, that immediate action is called for.
Well, when I was in the Army, I was in an echelon above Corps Support Unit, and they told us when we got there, you get the phone call, within 2 hours you're on base. 18 hours from that phone call, you're anywhere in the world. So it shouldn't really be too difficult to get people together. And while everybody is getting prepped and whatnot, I'm sure they can put out a brief, give them the basic information, and just move out, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be all that. But if they just sit there waiting and planning, trying to get everything perfect, it's never going to happen. And this thing's going to happen one way or another without them.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the guns. And somebody said it in the chat earlier, they can come for my gun, and they may get me, but I'm going to get some of them first. And my fiancée will be behind me with her weapon. So if it comes to it, you know, that we're not going to stand for it.
Okay, how much time have we got left?
We have 1 hour left, Drake.
1 hour. One whole hour.
1 hour.
So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's curious to how much time. Now I'm going to reiterate this again. Do not go out of your way to engage troops. It's easier if you're walking around as a hiker going up a trail. Oh, hi, man. Well, you on maneuvers out here? And take a look at their shoulder patch and see where it's at. It's pretty simple. And then say, well, I got to go. Oh, I forgot. Darn. Excuse me, I got to go back down the trail. I left. I think I might have left a little bit of a fire burning. I'll make sure that thing's out. And just take off walking. 9 times out of 10, you will have made contact. You'll note what it is, whether or not they bear watching. Okay? Next.
Okay, Drake, we have Constant Vision.
Okay.
Hi, Drake. It's Jeffrey West from Cosmic Vision News.
Say that again. I didn't hear it.
Oh, sorry. It's Jeffrey West from Cosmic Vision News, Drake.
Okay.
I was on standby there a while ago. I wasn't sure. I know that Lady Dragon was talking a little bit about my program, and I know I want to honor the space here because a lot of people have questions. But if permission allows, maybe I could just make a couple of quick comments.
That's fine.
Okay. Certainly a lot of information that is coming out at this time. I mean, you've been talking about how the galactic families have been interfering with the larger weapons and military equipment and the like. And I appreciate and understand why certain people have to be ready for the possibility of some kind of interaction with weapons. And I would like to offer a perspective to some of the other people in the group. and those who are listening, that we are certainly living in an energetic world. Our consciousness level is raising, and there will be many changes taking place. What is happening globally, the galactic families have determined that Gaia, our planet, is to be protected at all costs. So many of those kinds of interactions are being negated, as Drake has talked about and others. At the more local levels, it's going to depend upon each individual who is following his or her particular karma as to what he or she wishes to create and experience. You have been talking, Drake, about groups forming to be in a militia preparation mode. I certainly would like to call upon the listeners who don't feel so inclined to go in that direction to focus on the energetic aspect, to form meditation groups and higher consciousness groups to bring the higher energies into all of those situations. So hopefully that the militia groups and those do not have to entertain any kind of violent interaction at all. That's all I understand.
I understand what you're saying. I'm going to add a little something to this. When I call for community groups, be that militia, it can be meditation groups, doesn't matter. But there are basic necessities that you've got: food, water, shelter. Those things need to be attended to, and some people have more than others, more capability than others. This is where you come into the object of putting yourselves together in a community setting of more than one person, and you come up with enough food to feed more than just yourself. You come up with enough of the small extras. Oh, I got some old clothes in the closet, man. We'll fix you right up, or whatever it might be. Along with this, you have a combination of talents. Now, the reason I'm using the military is simply because of its organizational capability in terms of the manner in which it's structured. Nothing more, nothing less. A person who would be an expert in one field would then become the commander of that field. In other words, if they know how to build structures, they know how to put together water wheels that will either grind grain or produce electricity, then those people need to be, given a little special acknowledgement and assistance and make sure that these things can happen so that we can pump the water out of our wells or keep the food cold in the fridge. This goes on forever. Person that's got the green thumb, by all means, they're in charge of the garden or gardening, etc. So I'm not specifically calling for, per se, all military or militia-type groups. I'm saying that the base formation and idea everybody sees in a militia is strictly military, strictly guns, and that is not the case. The militia was to help and defend the people. First of all, to save lives. And I'll tell you right now, hungry people can't perform, no matter what their talent might be. Somebody that's, starving. So you're going to need somebody to grow food. You're going to need somebody to at least, help get things. Okay, well, so who does what around here? Well, can you do the gardening? Can you make sure that it happens? And you need a couple of people with you? Yeah. Who wants to go with them? Okay, bingo. It can be anything. It can be the fact that the ladies, as an example, may know something about domestic talents more than a man, but not have the finger strength to hand sew blue jeans or a coat. And all you have to do is just take these things into consideration and think about it. I have made my own clothes, shoes and all, and believe me, it ain't easy. So anything, if somebody's not comfortable with the idea of militarization, that does not necessarily mean they cannot support a small group within a community. There may be only 2 or 3 that are military-oriented, okay? Those would be the people that you would look to under those conditions in a situation that called for that. If you really can't do anything, then you can take care of the wounded. If need be, and you can bring yourself to it, you could load magazines, let somebody else do the shooting, you don't have to. Whatever the support mechanism might be, whatever your talent might be best suited to. Taking care of the wounded, whatever. Watching the kids. most communities got kids of some age or another, and they don't need to be involved in this, no matter how big they are. And you know, anybody under about, I don't know, I'm going to say 14, 15 years old shouldn't have to deal with such things. They could be the ones back there helping make sure things are right. So the idea of militia is a community service organization on a military structure, among whom some of the members, not all, are required to carry a weapon or have proficiency with arms. This is for self-defense. Just that simple. If the NWO decides they're going to take Granny down the road and you decide that ain't happening, going up very politely and saying no doesn't usually work too well. This has been tried at protests. There's another form of protest. It gets a little nastier, where you actually get in the way. If you start actually causing problems, and there's enough of you, and it depends on what level of problem you need to cause, you eventually require too much manpower, too much material, and too much time to be fooled with. Now, that could entertain a lot of different thoughts, but in a society where you do not necessarily shoot people just because they're in the way, which is what the basis of our society is, then you've got a situation where they have to pick you up and move you, or detain you, or do something with you so that you can't interfere any longer. This is going to distract them from taking out the rest of the neighborhood. I mean, there's, you know, it goes on and on. But there's a lot of different ways that you can be of service. One of those might be prayers, meditation, however you want to look at that. So, hope that answers all that.
I would like to thank the caller, and we're moving right along. We've got a little less than 50 minutes left, and we still have like 65 questions. So
right.
let's move on. We have Leonard.
Yes.
Leonard,
yes,
area code 661. Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you. You touched on the subject a moment ago. This heart and soul of this evil empire is the banking system. Can you expand and explain some more on how and what it will be replaced with?
Well, my understanding is that, first of all, it'll be negated to an extent. One thing that the people in this country need to understand is that we do not have a national currency. And that's a big whoops. They're going, well, what about them greenbacks where them dollars? Well, that's Federal Reserve notes. That is an international currency. It's not issued by the Treasury, among other things. There's some little bits of information that are required in terms of producing these things. The base of the power that has been wielded over the generations, actually for quite a few hundred years, is that of finance. The finance goes to political power. If a person can control what you do by having control over where you are and what you're doing, then that person has pretty awesome power. The feudal land system, where the land baron required you to raise a certain amount of wheat or barley or whatever, corn, and then taxed you on top of it, is what we're trying to get shed of. Now, there's a whole bunch of legalities that people have brought up, dealing with the power of attorney of the Queen and the Crown and the City of London and all kind of convoluted things. Believe me, these things are being addressed as we speak. I've been dealing with several experts in the field and have a pretty good working knowledge of what's going on. Basically, what's happened is that these things were granted by the people receiving them to themselves. Okay, I'm the Queen. Now what do you do? Okay, come here, guards. I want you to take these guys and, do something with them, or You remember that guy that was nasty to me the other day? Go throw him off that land. We'll get somebody else on there. These sorts of things go to primarily finance. If somebody wants to be paid a little extra, or they want the job,